hearing about all her glorious things that she's done in her life and how amazing she is. And when she was 11, that sort of sending off a letter saying that she didn't like the fact that they said men should be helping
Yeah.
in the to
Which we've
mention,
heard
yeah,
250,000
women
times.
should do
It's like
it.
that's the only thing she's achieved in her life. What a shame, Angela, that she didn't actually go into the royal family and use that incredible platform to make some real change, which was an opportunity provided to her.
She really does believe that's what we want to hear first. And of course, these people are desperate for help so that you can hear their story and help them. And they felt that it was very wrong thing for them to do because some of them who wrote to me actually said that they looked at her and they could see she wasn't the slightest bit interested in the couples who were talking to her. Now, I don't know that. I can't say that because it's
No,
difficult
but you could
to work
see
out.
it.
If she appears even just for half an hour by Zoom, everyone thinks she is now better. And you're absolutely right that she is not going to be suddenly better. It's going to take a long time. And hopefully it will be okay. But there's no time that people, it's fascinating how people have to have the timing. It's going to be 1 month or 2 months or 6 weeks, but you can't say that at the moment with her. And it's just lovely to be able to catch a glimpse and wait. Must be very difficult for William, but that's what it is. And we all have to just wait for her when she feels ready. She's not lazy. She's not apathetic. And as soon as she feels able and she's got the doctor's words that she's okay, then she will come back.
Harry and Meghan have really entered a career crisis. You have news of the Duchess of Sussex's brand, which was highly touted all throughout this year, running into some difficulties. What are you learning?
Well, yes, it is actually very difficult for them. And in one sentence, it's all being postponed for about 14 months minimum. So that's the difficulty. It's absolutely astonishing that they have got into this, really. And they've been blocked by the UK, no, by the US. And because then they haven't made things clear, they're all sort of messy and mistaken. So they're not allowing everything to go through. And Meghan wants to have an ability to sell throughout the world. So they have to be very careful what actually they're going to do. And also, I think she'll leave much of the cooking, which seems to be going nowhere, and do a whole load of things. Amongst the things she wants to do, it's pet shampoo, meditate. I know I picked of them a bit. Meditation mats, wine bags with handles, non-medicated hand soaps. So the trademarks for them obviously are more difficult than what you wanted to do with jam. And so it's going to take that long time. It's not that expensive in their minds, I don't think, because it's at least £9,000 they have to pay for this. But that must be, a drop in their ocean, really. But I think what the big mistake was that announcing when the jam was ready and everybody could have a lick, it was in March and it came out in April when Catherine was going to appear for Trooping the Colour. Now, this was her first opening to coming back, and she was at the Trooping of the Colour, and everybody was absolutely thrilled to see her. But there, on the other hand, there was Meghan Jam saying that she's sending it to at least 50 friends and sort of people who are very important to her. Well, they would be friends, you imagine.
Yeah,
And
friends like Chris Jenner. Ha,
and
friends.
She wanted to, she wanted to do it then. So then you have a huge hole, which is really not interesting, is it? Because I think you start off sending 50 jam jars somewhere. That's all right, but then you move. It's the beginning. You don't do a little phony starter that nobody could buy. It's still not on their website. It's all sort of very disorganized. And I wondered whether Meghan was doing that because she needs to have publicity when anything happens with the real royals.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that
there's
happened.
such a track record now, Angela. Anytime there's a big moment, especially, by the way, for William and Catherine, Harry and Meghan rush something out to try and steal their limelight, their publicity. And I think it just shows you how narrow minded they are.
Yes, I mean, it's a silly way to behave because people immediately know that it's a phony gesture and that they're being greedy to try and take a bit of the spotlight. As if they just waited and said, "Oh, how lovely, that's lovely. Here's a jar of my jam." You would feel better about that. The thing is that the next thing they're going to make available is a rosé wine, I'm told. Now, when Meghan had the TIG, that was her podcast thing,
Yes, yes, the
TIG,
blog, yeah.
and that was $200 a bottle of wine. And so this one is coming out. I don't know how it is, but somebody who works close with her said her style will be sold as affordably elegant, and her image centered on her status as both a family orientated and regal figure. I
Okay,
know.
if there's two things, Angela, that Meghan Markle is not, it just shows you the delusion of the people that she's working with. Family orientated, love. Your dad's 2 hours down the road. He had a life threatening stroke. If you're family orientated, you go and visit him. You've turned on all of your husband's family. So there's nothing family orientated about her, but also Angela, I don't know about you, but I don't think there's anything regal about her anymore either because she's shunned all of the trappings that come with the privilege of royal life. And actually, she's just a bog standard American D-list celebrity now. I don't view her as regal. Do you?
Oh, no, of course not. I never did. But I think she's hanging on to it by her fingernails because now she wants all the titles, doesn't she? This
Yeah.
is what she wants. So she would call herself Regal. And how many people do you know who are wonderful mothers and family people and Regal? Virtually none. So here she is as a guru, and that you would absolutely be thrilled to meet and very respectful. I mean, she just thinks it's extraordinary that somebody in the staff would do that, but it might have been Meghan saying, "That's how you refer, I want you to refer to me."
Oh, yeah,
She
she
does.
will have seen those words. She will have seen those words, no doubt. Because no one
So,
has a higher opinion of Meghan Markle than Meghan Markle. But what's interesting, Angela, is that even publications that have been quite favourable to the Sussexes of late, like the Daily Mail, for example, which seem to love them at the moment, bizarrely. Maybe they're scared of all of the lawfare that's been going on. But even they have written this week, Angela, that any commercial project that Meghan seems to touch always turns to mud very quickly. And it feels like she never really commits to anything. As soon as it doesn't work, she moves on to the next. And actually, it's one flop after another now, isn't it?
yes, it is. And I think you see, she's so eager to take everything and to do everything, whether it's politics, whether it's looking after other families who are in despair, whether it's cooking, whether it's doing, she wants to do everything. She wants to be the best at it. And so she hasn't got any time to do
Hmm.
it really properly. I mean, though, that what's going on alongside of all this is that she's going to do her cooking, gardening, and entertaining. Um, it's a sort of unnamed yet, but this is going to be something that Netflix are going to show about the same time as all the food comes out. and it's Meghan's passions, and these are Meghan's passions. But I know from loads of people that she doesn't like cooking, that she doesn't really do go on and get her hands dirty. As for entertaining, I think that will be, and this is unkind of me, but never mind, hearing about all her glorious things that she's done in her life and how amazing she is. And when she was 11, that sort of sending off a letter saying that she didn't like the fact that they said men should be helping
Yeah.
in the
Which we've heard
yeah,
250,000
women
times.
should
It's
do
like
it.
that's the only thing she's achieved in her life. What a shame, Angela, that she didn't actually go into the royal family and use that incredible platform to make some real change, which was an opportunity provided to her.
Yes, absolutely. So this is coming out. I may be very boring. Poor old Harry, he might have his golf or polo or something like that, but he's really being left out of
Mm.
most things. And I think that's another thing we should keep an eye on because she's doing an awful lot on her own. Maybe she drags him with her, but I don't think he's going to take part.
Now, you're hearing there's been more fallout from that CBS interview last week about the launch of the Parents Network. You're saying many didn't think actually that they were really the right people.
No, very much so. They didn't think they were the right people because of what they'd done to their family. And I think that's very interesting. Obviously, you couldn't compare yourself with parents who had a child who'd committed suicide because of something they'd seen online. I mean, that is, such a rare, terrible thing. But it's just that they didn't feel that she or Harry were the right people because they didn't put family first. They didn't care about family first. And I think there's something in that. But also Jane Pauley, who interviewed Meghan very well, brought out things about her. We've already said about when she felt that she wanted to die and how and the woman, and Jane said to her, well, there's not many people here yet, are there? And Meghan was furious. There were only 3 couples there. And so she brought it out that, well, Meghan wants to do it. She hasn't actually brought together a whole load of people who could discuss it with themselves. And she spent so much of the time talking about herself and what has happened to herself. She really does believe that's what we want to hear first. And of course, these people are desperate for help so that you can hear their story and help them. And they felt that it was a very wrong thing for them to do because some of them who wrote to me actually said that they looked at her and they could see she wasn't the slightest bit interested in the couples who were talking to her. Now, I don't know that. I can't say that because it's
No,
difficult
but you could
to work
see
out.
it.
But
You could see it, Angela, because there's that moment where, and actually, let's have a look at this. Actually, there's that moment where she was sitting next to a couple who were pouring out their heart about the loss of their son, very tragically. And you just look at Harry and Meghan and they're totally disconnected from it. Have a look at this.
In his hand, the phone. That's how addicted he was. He couldn't even kill himself without posting about it first.
And like the Dollies, it's often impossible for parents or anyone else to see.
So, Angela, you can see there, can't you? I mean,
yes,
this
it breaks
is
your heart for the couple. Actually,
yeah.
it really breaks your heart for them because they'd come obviously with hope, and here are this grand couple, and actually, it probably made them feel worse because it didn't work.
And it just feels like a really odd thing for Harry and Meghan to want to take on. As you say, they're spreading themselves so thin. And the problem is, look, I think this is a really important cause, Angela, a really important cause, actually. It's absolutely devastating if you're a parent and you lose a child to suicide. But because there's so much exhaustion about Harry and Meghan, being victims, always going over the same thing, always talking about themselves. It got lost, really. It wasn't a big launch. And I do also think, Angela, they haven't learnt the lesson from the royals, who focus on a small number of key issues which come to define their lives. So, for example, you look at Queen Camilla, it's all about domestic abuse and the treatment of women, isn't it? You look at Catherine, and it's about early life and education, something she's very passionate about. With Charles, we know obviously it's about heritage and the environment, and with Diana, critically, very modern issues at the time, but it was about the HIV epidemic, it was about bulimia, it was about homelessness, it was about landmines. But Harry and Meghan, what is their cause, Angela? What is their project? There seems to be loads of victimhood going on, but it's very, very hard to attach them to a particular issue. And so they just move on to the next so quickly, which doesn't actually bring the true attention that's required for change.
Now, yes, absolutely. And it was very extraordinary when Harry did speak, and he said that every parent should be a first responder. Now, a first responder is a sort of medical man who saves someone from dying. But I mean, these are ordinary people, ordinary family. And they think, how can I be a responder? Have I done something wrong? Is that one of the reasons, oh, this is terrible? I mean, it's the last thing you should ever say to somebody, surely.
Yeah, and I just wouldn't be wanting to turn to Harry and Meghan for advice about how to deal with very sensitive issues within a family. Angela, they have shown with their actions that they don't give a damn about the mental health of their own blood relatives, because they caused the late Queen and Prince Philip absolute hell during their dying months. That's not something you do if you care about the mental health of your family members. They have absolutely devastated Meghan's father, Thomas Markle, let alone all of the issues that they caused psychologically for William and Catherine. So I just feel like I'm not going to want to take advice from these two when it comes to the mental health of family members.
That's it, you see. And it would have been better if they'd had a quick sort of couple of hours with somebody who could help themselves on this matter. And you do need professionals for this. You can't just have a little chat. There didn't seem to be any tea anywhere or, water anywhere. You just sort of sit down. Meghan would tell you about herself. Lucky you, off you would go. That's not the way. But I don't suppose that either of them will feel they needed that. But it would have been quite helpful if they'd got proper professionals in and they let them go and talk to them. And then they could just join for a few minutes. They'd have to be very, very careful what they heard from Harry and Meghan, and something so sensitive.
But I've only promised to talk to you about products on this show that are actually life-changing. This one's a little bit more personal, but the fellas watching are going to completely get it. And the ladies, well, you would do well to treat your husband or boyfriend, because I can promise you from personal experience, this is a game changer. So men want a grooming routine that is one and done. The days of using the same trimmer for your face and your nether regions are over, all thanks to our friends at Manscaped. They've come up with the ultimate package to keep your hairs trimmed from 12 to 6. So introducing the Beard and Balls bundle, which features the Lawnmower 5.0 and the Beard Hedger. And I'm not talking about this sort of lawnmower, but don't worry, the product provides precision trimming for all areas, even the sensitive ones, and will get you as manicured as freshly cut grass. So I'm talking about a trimmer for the moneymaker, another for the boys downstairs, and it gets it right the first time while being gentle on the skin in all of your delicate places. With 2 interchangeable skin-safe blade heads, you can choose between a precise trim or a smooth finish. And did I mention it's waterproof, so you can chim in the shower and avoid making a mess everywhere. Perfect for those of us who appreciate efficiency. Now let me tell you about the Beard Hedger. Whether you're going for a neat stubble or a full-on lumberjack look, this trimmer has you covered. Featuring a titanium-coated stainless steel, T-blade and 20 length options. You can achieve any style you want with just a twist of the zoom wheel. And just like the lawnmower, the beard hedger is also waterproof, so you can handle your beard grooming right in the sink or shower without worrying about water damage. With up to 60 minutes of runtime and an LED charge indicator, you'll never be caught mid-trim with a dead battery. This is genuinely, take my words for this, such a gentle product. No more cuts. You'll keep your loved one very happy. And also, it will increase your confidence too. The best news is today, huge deal, 20% off and free shipping. You just have to use the code Outspoken at manscaped.com. Sorry, let me repeat that. www.manscaped.com. I'm actually going to put the link in the YouTube description and also the Rumble description, so you can just head there and actually click directly on it right now. But 20% off, free shipping with the code Outspoken at manscaped.com. No more juggling multiple tools or dealing with subpar results, just efficient, effective grooming wherever you need it for the premium grooming experience. Trust Manscaped. Angela, of course, over this side of the Atlantic, it was lovely this week, wasn't it, to see Catherine looking good, looking pretty healthy in this video supporting the Team GB athlete. But that aside, actually, the thing that was going most viral, Angela, was Prince William's incredible stubble. He's grown this beard, and we know he loves a beard, Angela. He loves a beard. He didn't like the fact that the late Queen didn't want him to grow a beard. But there's quite a psychological thing about this, isn't there? Because can you imagine how furious Harry would have been when he saw William looking handsome and strapping and everyone saying how well he looked with the facial hair? Because it was almost like the one thing that Harry was still able to hold over his brother. It's like, this is the one thing I have that you don't have, my beard. And now that's out the window.
Yeah, we don't know whether he's going to keep it. It might be just because it's
probably for the summer,
to do it, because it was a bit sort of rough, wasn't it? But he did look quite different, and it was more mischievous, I think. He just looked a bit more like that, and it was something to talk about. But you know, when Harry was getting married, the late Queen, actually, there was a protocol that nobody who wore an army outfit when they got married could actually have a beard. And she tried very hard to get him to have a beard. And William tried, to take away his beard, and William did the same. And Harry absolutely won in the end. He was furious with William. So X years later, he's now taking advantage and getting a beard. I don't know whether when he's doing all his royal things that he will need it, but beards are more fashionable, I'm told. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. I like a bit of stubble, Angela. I like a bit of stubble. And the thing is that what I find really interesting about this is people are saying that William is having a bit of a renaissance. So let's be honest about it, Angela. When young guys lose their hair, they lose some of their look, some of their youthful vigor. And that was a little bit difficult for William because he obviously lost his hair very young. But all of a sudden, he's looking like an action man prince again and very handsome. And what's interesting about that is Harry obviously directly criticised William's looks and his aging in his bitter autobiography Spare, where he spoke about his brother's alarmingly receding hairline. Whereas actually, just going to be honest about it, I think William is looking much more youthful and vigorous than Harry, who has this bizarre sort of comb over going on. It's like it's all gone apart from a few wisps. And look, I wouldn't usually talk about this, Angela, because actually it's not really anyone's business, is it? And it's not important. But the problem is Harry created this by slagging off his own brother for his looks in his book. He created this narrative.
It was awful to talk about William's balding. I mean, that's what a lot of men do. And actually, he needed to be careful that he wasn't going to do it himself. But it was just another way of getting at him.
Yes.
And being very unpleasant at that. And it was so that everyone would laugh and think, oh, my goodness, yes, there's lovely Harry who's got all his hair, and oh, poor old William. He wouldn't like that. And it was unnecessary as well, because that doesn't change a person's personality. and how hard they work for this country and the Commonwealth. It's just not a very nice thing to say.
No, indeed. Now, oh, sorry, you go, Angela.
Yeah. Can I just say that one of the things I thought about Princess Catherine was that little Prince George is no longer little, he's 11, is not going to go to the secondary school. They've changed their mind about that. He's going to stay at the same school, Lambrook School, where
Which
his
they
sister
love.
are there and they like very much. And he will go in 2 years, they will look again. And I wondered to myself whether this was because things are still not right with her health, and that she doesn't want something that will be quite difficult to get hold of, because there he is, he's going in. Everybody who's 11 older will know that he's going to be a king. There will be perhaps teasing him and all that. So he can stay where he feels very safe until she's really come out and she's so much better that she can help him, because she's a strong woman, but maybe she can't do that at this stage. And so if you keep as much as possible what's going on in your home at the moment, then it's much easier to cope with, I think.
Yeah, they don't want to put George through another big change, do they, when he's having to deal with Catherine being unwell, but also his grandfather, the king, being well, which must not be easy. But Angela, look, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because they don't want too much speculation about Catherine's health. But I think probably one thing that has been quite unhelpful is people are talking about her going back to work really quickly. But from what I'm hearing, Angela, that isn't going to happen, because she is seriously ill. Even though we've seen her, the recovery is not going to be overnight. She does need time. And as she said herself, Angela, I mean, she's told us this, she's not out of the woods. I don't know why people seem to be wanting to pressure her into going back to work so quickly. And I do wonder if people are maybe not aware of quite how serious Catherine's medical situation remains.
Yes, they're not aware because they're not being told, which is quite right. But I think that it's just, if she appears even just for half an hour by Zoom, everyone thinks she is now better. And you're absolutely right that she is not going to be suddenly better. It's going to take a long time. And hopefully it will be okay. But there's no time that people, it's fascinating how people have to have the timing. It's going to be 1 month or 2 months or 6 weeks, but you can't say that at the moment with her. And it's just lovely to be able to catch a glimpse and wait. Must be very difficult for William, but that's what it is. And we all have to just wait for her when she feels ready. She's not lazy. She's not apathetic. And as soon as she feels able and she's got the doctor's words that she's okay, then she will come back. But as we said last week, that it was wonderful that she was going to Scotland to be with the King and Queen, showing that she feels so comfortable with them, that they're like a second family, and that she can be there. And if she doesn't feel well, she can rest. But what she loves is nature, and if she's out in the fresh air, and it makes her feel better, for the moment.
Yeah, but exactly. I think she does need a bit of time. I think some of the narrative around Catherine maybe isn't totally accurate. This is serious cancer. She needs time to recover, and I think William is absolutely clear that she's going to take that time. Angela, it's a bit of a side issue, but what did you make of the fact that she was wearing the same top, that striped top, in the video for Team GB? That was the same one, or at least the same design. It seemed to be the same top that she wore in her announcement of her cancer.
If you look really closely at the top and the shoulders, you'll see each of them is different.
So she just likes that style, obviously, of
But that
stripes.
style she obviously likes. That is her, my cozy, casual style. Yes. I thought at the beginning, why is she wearing the same thing? And I looked very carefully, and it's not. So
Okay.
she's got a little
That
variety.
that makes sense. One thing that someone said to me, and obviously you hope this isn't true, you hope there's no need for it, but that one of the reasons she might wear that design quite a lot is because it makes you not look very thin. Do you see what I mean? If you're very thin, it's quite a good style to wear. And we did see during Trooping the Colour, Angela, she was already a very thin woman. She has lost a lot of weight.
I thought she looked thin in the photograph, around her neck and her face. I thought she looked very happy, which that was very
Yeah.
nice.
And
Happy.
healthy in her face, but yeah, very thin.
Very, very thin.
It's worrying.
But the
Okay.
interesting thing as well, which we all just must say, is that Princess Anne, um, and she is taken over Princess Charlotte.
Oh yeah, I love this. So yeah, so what have you heard about this? Because I knew nothing about this, so it's fascinating.
Yes, for a while she's been looking after Charlotte, not in a way that, having her with the day, but to tell her how to be a princess. At the
Oh.
moment, I think
So
Charlotte
almost like a mentor. Is she almost like
it
mentoring
is a
her?
mentor, and she will tell her that the idea is that she grows up and she's a very comfortable princess, and they don't want her to be anything like Harry, who feels that
Yeah.
she's there and that she's not worthy of anything. People didn't feel that about Harry. That's what he's put on himself. But he wasn't attended to as much as possible. So they're trying to give Charlotte something to hold and to feel is her own. I don't know how close she would be when her brother is king, but I think that they're working it all out very well. And Charlotte loves it, apparently. She's absolutely thrilled with working with Princess Anne. And Princess Anne is a little bit mischievous, and she's told her about sort of naughty things that go on in the palace, and also told her about all sorts of things. They discuss a whole range of things, and she's loving it. And you can tell that she's very, very keen to learn because she knows every moment. She controls Louis and George if they're not bending over,
Yes.
bowing at the right time.
She
So
rules the roost. She
that's
keeps
it.
those boys
So,
in line.
so she is, and she's a very good mother. She has been. Zara Tindall, her daughter, said to her that she couldn't have been a nicer, more wonderful mother. And you see Princess Anne being quite sort of strict, a bit like a teacher, and of old. And you've got to do things properly and be very nice. But she's just dedicated. And when her brother, King Charles, has not been well, she's there straight away. When her mother was dying, she was there straight away. She doesn't want a lot of publicity, but she's a wonderful woman with great way of behaving. She got on brilliantly with her father. I mustn't leave him out. And there were rumours that he would have much preferred her to be queen. But King Charles is fine now. I don't think he felt it at the end. But I think it's a wonderful thing to do and to have someone else there. So she helped Catherine as well to understand how to manage the royal family. And Camilla, I know, did a lot too. And it's one of the reasons that really helped Catherine and William to accept Camilla. She wasn't doing it for that reason, but she helped her with what could be done and what couldn't, and also jokes and the things that can go wrong. So she had Catherine has had marvelous teaching, but she's also marvelous in herself. That's why she's so superb as a senior royal. And it softened up William. I know Camilla offered to help Meghan too, and Meghan said, "No, thank you, I've got Harry," and took no notice.
That was a mistake, wasn't it? Do you know what? I am so delighted because Anne is the perfect person for Charlotte to learn from, actually. And as you say, Angela, she's absolute proof. She's living proof that you don't have to be a spare. She's all about duty. She's completely respected by the public. She goes about things in a no-nonsense manner. And if we could get even just a little taste of that from Charlotte, I think it would be a real asset to the royal family. Angela, just quickly, I want to find out what you thought about King Charles's response to the riots in the UK this week. He released a paper statement, but of course it's very difficult with an issue like this because it's a political issue, and I guess you're never going to quite please both sides, are you?
No, you're not. But I think he is our king, and I think it's his duty to say what he feels about certain things. I don't think it's political. I think it's actually that he's very involved and he cares about it. And I think that that's very, very important. I remember when COVID was around and the Queen gave a speech, it helped me a great deal.
Oh, me
and
too.
I think he's there for that. Now, it just worries me that whether our Prime Minister, who I know doesn't like the monarchy as a whole, will let Charles, because he said he will speak when the Prime Minister gives him the opportunity. So I'm quite concerned that we might not have it, and I hope that won't happen. He is our king. I want to hear what he says, and it's a comfort, and he's got very, very good at comforting us. And I think that's very nice, because the people who we're surrounded with, everyday people, also don't know what to do, also are scared, don't want to travel out, stay at home. And we need someone who gives us the strength that we can go our own ways and be happy.
Yeah, it's so interesting, isn't it? I think we're still adjusting, Angela, as a nation to not having the late Queen there, because as you so rightly point out, during COVID, it was actually her who provided the moral leadership and the strength of courage to say, actually, we're going to get through this. We will see each other again. And also for me, because I was not a fan of the lockdowns, but I won't go there today, Angela. But she was also very brave, given her age, that she would go out in public and she didn't want to wear masks and she wanted to shake other people's hands. So she was making the point that actually you can follow my lead. But as you say, we've got this new Labour Prime Minister, Slippery Starmer. He wants to do things in his own way, and maybe he decided that in this case, he wasn't going to use Charles, which is an interesting decision. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please do subscribe if you want lots more clips and interviews like that. Plus, if you want to watch our totally uncensored after show, then visit www.outspoken.live.